Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cone back here again today with another video. I'm not sure if I've done one of these before, but I'm going to do an article reaction today. As you probably know, the trade deadline is coming up. It's only 10 days away, so I'm going to shift my focus to a lot of trade deadline or trade related videos heading into that period. It's March 25th, if you did not know. I'm not exactly sure what time during the day is. It kind of changes. I believe it's around 3 p.m., usually Eastern time, so we've got about 10 days and a couple hours from when I'm filming this before that hits. And I think it's going to be a really big trade deadline. I made that prediction in my 10 predictions for the second half of the season video if you want to go check that out. But I predicted that this is going to be a crazy trade deadline for player movement. I think that the addition of the play-in games and kind of the unparalleled level of parity, like there's a lot of different teams that are jumping up and down in the standings. And I think teams are going to try and take advantage of that, make moves. Some might make moves to sell, some might make moves to buy. But this article is predicting what the trade deadline will look like for every team. It's off Bleacher Report if you want to check it out. I'll put the link to this article in the description if you want to look at it. It's by Zach Buckley, so shout out to him for making this article. And I'll just kind of give my thoughts, I guess, on every team. I thought this would be a good way to get an outside opinion from someone else while also giving my thoughts. So drop a like, drop a subscribe, and we'll just go ahead and get into it. So every single team on here. It says bold predictions are overrated. So it says the aim is accuracy. So I guess this won't be like bold prediction focus. It'll be what he actually think is going to happen. So we'll see how close he is. First thing is that the Atlanta Hawks keep John Collins. There have been a lot of reports. Also, this article came out March 13th, so it's 2 days ago. So this doesn't have all of the updated trade rumors, which is why I'm not sure if this is actually going to happen. There have been a lot of reports today that a lot of teams are interested in John Collins, although the asking price does seem kind of high. And the fact that there's reports that John Collins wants $25 million, that might turn a lot of teams off to him. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do keep John Collins. I think they should, just as a fan of the John Collins-Trae Young duo. Although if there is tension there, like has been reported, I get it. It says the Hawks, according to the Athletic Sam Amick, the Hawks have shown a willingness to listen to offers for Collins. It does make sense, but he is really productive, and I don't think that they're going to end up trading him. I think he just makes too much sense on that team right now. So I agree with that one. Boston Celtics won't make major move, but will come totally close on a couple. I'm guessing this is a shot at Danny Ainge, who just never makes the big moves, it seems like. Yeah. I don't think they're going to make any crazy moves, but I think they do make some small moves. It says the Celtics could and probably will be linked to just about every notable name on the market, but the fan base should know that by now, instead of actual trades, they should prepare to hear about just how close the club came to pulling them off. I don't think that that'll be true for everything. I think they do make some moves. I think that this is the weakest Celtics team we've seen in a couple years, and I expect them to make some moves to kind of shore things up. Jaylen Brown is having a breakout season. Tatum's having a great season. Marcus Smart is finally coming back. You have a couple competent big men in Tristan Thompson. Daniel Tice. Robert Williams is making a big jump, and I like him as a piece for the future. I think he is their center of the future, and I would not be surprised if they make a couple moves. I don't think they make any big moves, but I think they do make some small stuff. The Nets trading Spencer Dinwiddie. This is interesting to me. This is something that I've been back and forth on. Several teams are already chasing a Denwoody deal, reportedly. I think they keep him. I think they keep Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't see a team trading for him after tearing his ACL. I think that they're going to hold on to Dinwiddie for next season. I think he would be a massive piece for this team if he comes back healthy. I don't think they're willing to give that up. I think guys like Spencer Dinwiddie. I think he's going to be back. But then again, I would not be surprised. So nothing too crazy on this so far. The Hornets turn backcourt depth into a big man. Who does this involve trading, I guess? Malik Monk and Devontae Graham. That's interesting. The Hornets pushing hard for Vucevic. I'd like that. I'd like to see that. The Magic have said they're not really moving Vucevic. I've gone on record so many times on this channel and overall that they should trade Vucevic. And I would like to see him get moved to the Hornets. The Hornets are super fun to watch. I think it would be cool to see him here. I just don't know. Malik Monk and Devontae Graham have both shown flashes of greatness. Devontae Graham had a great last season, but I do project him as more of a six-man than like a guy on that team. The future of the backcourt, I think that's clearly Rozier and LaMelo. Malik Monk is a great shooter. He's been phenomenal in the past month or so. So, yeah, I guess they are both restricted free agents to be, so I wouldn't be surprised if they got moved. I'm not sure how much I would like it. It depends what they get. If they got Vucevic, I'd like it, but if it's something lower tier, then I don't really like it. You don't want to blow up a rebuild too early. The Bulls trading Thad Young, I could see it. Every contender wants, uh, every contender wants Thaddeus Young. Um, so let's see. Yeah, because Thaddeus Young isn't available for trade is something that Kevin O'Connor has been saying. But I mean, he does have really high value. I would expect him to be a guy that a lot of contenders are going to look at. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulls moved him to try and bring in some more pieces, bring in like a pick or something like that. He's a very valuable piece to any contender. I wouldn't be surprised if he is moved, although I feel like the Bulls will probably end up keeping him. The Cavs don't do Andre Drummond. I agree. I think he's going to get bought out. There's no chance that you're going to get something for Andre Drummond for that contract. Apparently there's reports that came out today that they're only asking for a second round pick, which I think is about value for him, the way he's been playing, or the way that he's kind of trended in the past couple seasons. And the Cavs thinking they're going to get any more than that are kind of crazy, which makes sense why they've kind of come down to that. But the problem is that no team wants to match that salary. The Boston Celtics aren't going to use that huge trade exception that they have to go for Andre Drummond. They're going to go for something bigger if they want to go for anything at all. And I don't think any team is willing to part ways with some big salaries or with some draft capital to bring in Andre Drummond. I just don't see it happening. I think he's going to get bought out. Yeah, so I've agreed with almost everything on here so far. The Mavericks keep Kristaps. I don't need to talk about this too much. I don't think there's any chance they trade Kristaps at the deadline. Maybe in the offseason if they disappoint, but I don't think there's any chance that they trade him by the deadline. The Nuggets trade a wing. I could see it. Trading Gary Harris or Will Barton, I guess, would be the dream. You could bring in it says here you could bring in like a Terrence Ross. If you wanted to go shoot higher, you could try and bring in a DeMar DeRozan. Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine, I think, are off the table. I don't think either of those guys are getting traded. Obviously, that's the Nuggets' dream, but I think that third star, I guess you could say, Jokic is one. If you count Murray as their second star, then that third star is going to have to wait for right now. The Pistons take calls on Jeremy Grant. I think they will. I think you have to with the way he's been playing. A lot of teams would offer a ton of money for him, or not a ton of money, a ton of assets for him, but I don't know if I'd like that for other teams. If I'm the Pistons and a team offers me like multiple first-round picks for Jeremy Grant, I'm very much listening because Jeremy Grant's already 26. And while he's putting up great stats, he's on a pretty bad team. So there's a possibility that some of those stats could be empty. I think that they aren't necessarily. I think he's versatile defensively. Yeah, it says up here. I think his points are pretty solid. I don't think that they're empty stats or anything. But you have to wonder if it's a little bit of the situation he's in. So I would be worried if I were a contender. I wouldn't offer too many assets just because we haven't seen it past one season. So we're not sure how sustainable it is yet. The Warriors add a starter. Maybe. I don't know who they would add as the problem. It says Fournier, Oladipo. I don't like Oladipo at all for this team. Aaron Gordon, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they do. I'm not sure that the Dubs are either going to be very quiet or very active at the deadline, and I have no idea which one it's going to be. I think that they will add a piece or two. I'm just not sure if it'll be a starter caliber guy. The Rockets a fire sale. Yeah, I think so. If you can get someone to take on Oladipo's contract, you do it. If you get someone to take on PJ Tucker, who has clearly wanted out, you do it. Eric Gordon, maybe not because of his injury. I'm not sure if he will get traded. Like a Dan Wellhouse Jr. you could also talk about. We'll see. I think the Rockets do deal like 3 or 4 guys. More Miles Turner trade talks. Really? I don't see it. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of talks about Miles Turner. Although he has been in trade talks for so long. It's like him and Aaron Gordon for the past like 10 seasons, even though they're only like 5 or 6 years into their careers, have been in trade talks nonstop. Yeah, I don't think so. I think Turner has been too valuable to this team right now. And yeah, I don't see him getting traded. I don't even see them taking many calls on him. Clippers backcourt boost. Yeah, I could see it. I think that they're going to make a move or two. They just had a huge blowout loss to the Pelicans, and Kawhi Leonard went on record saying that this team isn't consistent enough, that you need to be more consistent to win in this league, which he's absolutely right about. And I think that means upgrades are coming. George Hill is a possibility, definitely from the Thunder. I just don't know if we deal them George Hill because our hope is that they end up falling apart and then we get their draft picks. So that's my only thought with George Hill. But I think that they're going to make a move for someone. I don't think it'll be like a Kyle Lowry, but I think it'll be someone smaller. Lakers wait for the buyout market. Yeah, I don't think the Lakers make many trades. I think that there is a ton of guys who'd be willing to come here in the buyout market. Andre Drummond is one guy who I think ends up in the Los Angeles. I think he makes that decision after getting bought up by the Cavaliers because nobody is going to trade for him, and he ends up joining them. Maybe a couple other guys, but at least a guy like him. The Grizzlies move a big man. Yeah, Valanciunas is really solid. You do have you kind of have a logjam there. I think Gorgie Jang is the guy who ends up getting moved. He's a solid three-point shooter, can space the floor. He plays solid defense. He can do whatever. Yeah, with Xavier Tillman especially, really kind of showing out this season quicker than anyone thought he was going to. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. also is going to return at some point. Someone's got to go. I think it's Gorgie Jang, yeah. The Heat replaced Jay Crowder. I'm not sure what that means. I need to read this. It doesn't give any specific names. They just talk about how Mo Harkless didn't work out. Kelly Olynyk and KZ Okpala haven't shown exactly what they need to. And I agree. I think Jay Crowder was a huge loss for them. Yeah, I think it's going to be a smaller guy for the Heat. I don't see them getting like a Beal or like a Levine or something like that. I think it's going to be a smaller level guy. At a playoff rotation caliber reserve. Yeah, this Bucks team is pretty solid. I don't expect them to make any crazy moves. It's just that some guys are just not doing exactly what they thought they were going to do. Yeah, some one-dimensional guys. Bryn Forbes can't defend. Torrey Craig can't score. Augustine can't do much of anything anymore, except that if you have DJ Augustine on your team, you will never get swept. That's the one thing he can do. Yeah, I think they'll bulk up the bench. I think that's a good decision. Find Cat's front court partner. I'm going to take a guess he talks about Aaron Gordon or John Collins here. Yep, Collins, Gordon, Larry Nance Jr. Look for Minnesota to continue reshaping the roster around Cat. I think Aaron Gordon is much more likely. I don't think Collins ends up getting moved, but I think Aaron Gordon, he's been a guy that's been linked to Minnesota forever. Like I said, Aaron Gordon, you know the trade deadline is coming around when there are Aaron Gordon trade rumors, because every year it seems like he's in trade rumors. I think this might be the year it finally gets done. Pelicans keep one guard, trade another. Yeah, the Lonzo Ball thing is definitely interesting. I think that they end up keeping Lonzo Ball just because of the way he's been playing recently, and I think they end up paying him in restricted free agency. But yeah, JJ Redick could definitely get moved. Definitely opens up minutes for Alexander Walker and Kira Lewis Jr. Yeah, I think JJ Redick's a guy that could be moved, although he hasn't been very good and he's making a ton of money, so that's a problem. But you know, some team might be willing to bite the bullet. The Knicks flip Alec Burks. Yeah, this isn't anything special. I could see it. The Thunder add multiple draft picks. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I think George Hill's gone. I think Trevor Ariza is also gone. Al Horford, we will be shopping, I think. I don't expect him to get moved, but I think at least George Hill and Trevor Ariza are gone. We traded Hamidou Diallo a couple days ago. Rest in peace, Hamidou Diallo in Oklahoma City. Mike Muscala, another guy that could get moved. Yeah, I think there's all three of those guys, Hill, Ariza, Muscala, are guys that contenders would love to have. Also in Al Horford even. So I think three, if not all four of those guys end up getting moved. The Magic trade multiple starters. God, I hope so. I talk about the Magic so much on this channel just because they frustrate me. They have to pull, yes, exactly, pull the plug on this team. Trade Vucevic, trade Fournier, trade Aaron Gordon, trade Terrence Ross, trade everyone. But yeah, Aaron Gordon I think at least has to go. Vucevic can stay, but I think you trade Evan Fournier, you trade Aaron Gordon, you trade Terrence Ross at least. I would also shop Vucevic, but at least those three guys. The Sixers, nothing major. I don't know. I think that they end up making a move. I expect like maybe not a Kyle Lowry. Okay, yeah, he says down here like an Evan Fournier, Terrence Ross, George Hill, PJ Tucker, Bjelica. I think that PJ Tucker and George Hill are more likely. I could see a Terrence Ross. But yeah, I think George Hill does end up on this team. I think if I had to pick right now where he ends up getting moved, I think it's to Philly. The Suns get a backup big. That could be solid for them. Although Dario Saric has played incredible minutes for them at the center sometimes. They talk about a PJ Tucker, JaVale McGee, or Robin Lopez. Interesting. I don't know. All those options aren't super enticing. PJ Tucker probably more so. I don't know. I just don't like JaVale McGee's solid. I just don't know how much he raises this team's like ceiling. And Robin Lopez, I don't think he's been great this season. Watching him on the Wizards, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Trailblazers improved the defense. Do they suggest anything? Here's Aaron Gordon. Um, yeah, I think any three of these guys, Aaron Gordon, Harrison Barnes, or Thaddeus Young, could be a solid addition. They could talk about an Otto Porter Jr., a Nerlens Noel, or a Garrett Temple. Two guys from the Bulls there. Actually, three guys with Thaddeus Young. The Bulls have a lot of interesting pieces. They've like Garrett Temple and Thaddeus Young, especially two veterans who have really stepped it up this season, and I could see both of them getting moved. I think the Blazers do try and make a move because they're seeing how good they are even without Nurkic and McCollum, and they're like, okay, they come back and we add pieces. They might see themselves as a contender to come out of the West, and I don't blame them. They looked really, really good right now. I think that they end up making a move or two. The Kings keep Marvin Bagley. Yeah, I don't think that there's any chance they end up moving him. Spurs sail on plug-and-play veterans. I don't know why that was like a tongue twister for me. Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge is gone. DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay, Patty Mills, Trey Lyles, all guys I could see being moved. I think DeMar DeRozan is less so of an opportunity. I just don't think that they're going to end up trading him. I think he's been really good this season, and they decide to stick it out with him, at least for this year. Rudy Gay, I could see being moved. Patty Mills, Trey Lyles, all guys that could definitely be traded. The DeRozan one is the interesting thing, and obviously, like I just said, LaMarcus Aldridge, they've already said they're trading. So the Raptors stand pat. I don't know if I like it. This Raptors team just feels like they've topped out. Norman Powell has been going off for no reason recently. I feel like Lowry might be. It might be time to trade Kyle Lowry. I know he's the greatest Raptor of all time, but sometimes you got to trade your best franchise player if it means getting better in the future. And I think that might be what they have to do. It really just depends, I think, on the market. Like I think a Philly would be interested. I think the Clippers would be interested. The problem is just how much money he's making. Yeah, it says right here, $30.5 million. That's a lot of money. I don't know if a contender is willing to swallow that much, especially a Philadelphia team that has a ton of concerns with previously bloated contracts. So I don't know. The Jazz take a long afternoon nap. Yeah, I don't really even know if the Jazz make a single trade. I think that if there's one team in the NBA that won't make a single trade, it's the Utah Jazz. Although they have been kind of slipping recently, so I wouldn't be surprised if they made one. But if I had to pick any team not to make one, it would be the Jazz. And the Wizards bring in a veteran, the final team. There's George Hill again. Rashawn Holmes is interesting. I think they have to bring in someone in the front court with Westbrook, Beal. I don't think that you end up bringing in a guard. I think you would more so want to bring in someone at like the power forward center position, specifically the center position. Robin Lopez, Alex Len, they just don't really do the job since Thomas Bryant went out with injury. So if they want to make a move, I think it's for a big man. Okay, so that's all of the teams on the list. I probably agreed with almost everything on here. I don't think that there was anything too crazy on here. I could pretty much buy anything. Yeah, so with that being said, I will see you guys later. Let me know what you thought about all these ideas. Let me know what you think your team is going to do in the trade deadline. Let me know what players you think you're going to acquire, trade, or just let me know what a big move you think that's going to go down on the trade deadline is. And I will see you guys later. Real one, say it back.